Close your eyes for a moment and remember this. What you accept as true in the silence of your heart, you are destined to experience in the light of day. The world is only a mirror. It must reflect back what you dare to believe in secret. You have carried visions within you, desires, dreams, longings that no one knows about but you and the divine. You believed when nothing changed. You walked when the road was invisible. You've spoken to the unseen and trusted when others mocked your silence. And yet something in you never gave up. That was not weakness. That was the very proof that God is alive within you. Now hear this. God is not unjust to forget the work done in faith. Your reward is not only coming, it is coming in a way that no one will be able to ignore. You see, God does not repay you in private when you labored in belief with no audience. The one who waited in silence, who wept in the dark, who praised through pain, will be rewarded in full view of those who doubted. The overflow is coming not as a trickle, not as a whisper, but as a flood, and it is not because of begging, not because of pleasing others. It is because you remain true to your vision. You held the image, you stayed in the state, you refused to collapse under delay, and now reality must obey the blueprint you've etched in faith. Public reward is the echo of private persistence. Let them talk, let them wonder how it happened, let them call it luck. You will know. It was written long before it showed up. It was yours before the world applauded. You possessed it in spirit before you touched it in form. Now you will be honored not because you chased it, but because you became it. God is not withholding. He is unfolding. The reward is not coming to you. It's rising through you. Prepare your heart, for the overflow has already begun. You are not waiting on God. God is waiting on your belief. That truth, once understood, changes everything. Most people think they are stuck in life because the timing is off or circumstances haven't yet aligned. But what if it was never about time and always about consciousness? What if the reality you seek isn't ahead of you, but inside of you right now, quietly waiting for you to accept it as real? Everything in your external world is a mirror. Not a punishment, not a test, but a perfect reflection of what you have accepted as true within yourself. The outer world does not create your inner state. It is the other way around. What you assume, what you emotionally accept, what you persist in mentally, becomes flesh. Every belief you hold forms the structure of your experience. If you believe the world is harsh, people will mirror that belief. If you believe you are overlooked, you will be. But if you dare to believe you are chosen, that you are loved, that your success is inevitable, even before a single sign appears, then all of creation begins to move in harmony with that inner picture. There is a sacred truth in the silence. What you carry within in secret must become the scene of your outer life. You don't have to tell anyone. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to hustle for what is already yours in spirit. What matters is that you persist inwardly in the assumption of your desired state. You must live from it, not toward it. You must think from the outcome, not of it. Your assumption is the seed. No seed shows its flower overnight, but it contains the whole tree in its silence. Just because you cannot see your desire doesn't mean it isn't working. The moment you claim it within, the moment you say it is done in consciousness, the process begins. It will grow. It will push through time. It will emerge in a way that will make others wonder how you did it. And that is the beauty of the process. The harvest will be visible to all. Those who saw you lacking will see you overflowing. Those who heard your cries in the dark will see you walking in light, not because you begged, not because you worked harder than others, but because you dared to assume it was already true when there was no evidence. The world will bend to match what you have long carried in secret. So stop trying to force the outside to change. Begin instead with your inner vision. Water it daily with belief. Protect it from the voices of doubt, and above all, know that God is not waiting to give it to you. He already has. He is only waiting for you to believe. There is a sacred power in private faith, the kind of faith that doesn't need applause, doesn't ask for approval, and doesn't demand that anyone else understand. It is quiet. It is still. It lives within the heart of the one who believes, even when the world offers no confirmation. This kind of faith is not broadcasted. It is carried. It doesn't cry out for validation because it knows what the end looks like long before it arrives. And when you dare to believe in silence, when you hold firm to your conviction in the invisible, you activate something far greater than circumstance. You awaken divine justice. To believe without evidence is one of the highest forms of spiritual maturity. It is easy to have faith when doors are opening, when people are supporting you, when results are immediate. But what about when there is no sign, when everything around you contradicts what you feel called to believe? That is where true creation begins, in the unseen, in the silence, in the stillness of knowing something deeper than what your eyes can see. When you persist in that invisible knowing, when you refuse to abandon your inner conviction, even when reality tells you no, then the heavens take notice. Because faith, in its purest form, is not a performance. It's a posture of the soul that says, I know it is done, long before anything happens. And when you remain loyal to that inner posture, when you keep showing up as if the thing you desire is already yours, something begins to shift. The reward does not come quietly. It comes in a way that cannot be hidden. It arrives in the open, in the light, in the presence of those who doubted, questioned, or even laughed. This is not to embarrass them, but to glorify what was done in secret. It is the way divine justice works. What was held privately in faith is revealed publicly in reward. It's not about proving people wrong. It's about showing that belief shapes reality, that unseen conviction is more powerful than visible facts, that holding a vision in your heart is the highest form of spiritual authority. And when you live from that place, when you speak, act, and think as if the unseen is more real than the seen, you align with the natural order of the universe. God does not overlook private faith. In fact, it is the very thing that draws him near. It is the proof that you trust without needing signs. And because of that trust, your reward is multiplied, not just given, but displayed. Not just received, but revealed. So continue to believe in silence. Continue to walk quietly with your vision, because the reward is not coming to satisfy your ego. It is coming to glorify your faith. And when it comes, the world will see with their eyes what you saw first in your spirit. Delay is one of the most misunderstood parts of the journey. We often assume that if something is taking time, we must be doing something wrong, or worse, that God is withholding what we desire. But the truth is far more sacred. Delay is not denial. It is divine alignment. What appears to be waiting is in reality preparation. It is a holy process, shaping you into the version of yourself who can fully hold, handle, and honor what is coming. The universe is never late. It moves in exact harmony with the state of your mind and spirit. If your desire hasn't shown up yet, it isn't because it's not meant for you. It's because something within you is still expanding. And that expansion cannot be rushed. You're not just being prepared for the blessing. The blessing is being prepared for you. The two must meet in perfect resonance. You may feel ready, but divine timing sees beyond your current awareness. What's coming is not small. It's not temporary. It's not a glimpse. It's overflow. And overflow doesn't arrive in pieces. It arrives in fullness, in totality. And to receive that kind of abundance, your inner container, your beliefs, your self-concept, your expectations must grow to match it. Think of it like pouring water into a cup. If the cup is too small, the water will spill and be lost. The blessing is not being delayed to punish you. It is being protected from spilling through your unpreparedness. Every moment of waiting is expanding your capacity to receive without breaking, to overflow without drowning, and to carry greatness without shrinking from it. In these moments of delay, you're not stagnant. You're being refined. Your mindset is being stretched. Your assumptions are being tested. Your vision is being deepened. You're learning how to think from the end, not just hope for it. You're building inner stability so that when the reward arrives, it doesn't shake you, it establishes you. The mind must become the shape of the desire. The identity must match the manifestation. If you desire something extraordinary, you must become extraordinary in your awareness. That is the unseen work being done during the waiting. You are not being ignored. You are being aligned. So do not curse the delay. Do not panic when the timeline stretches. Instead, bless the space between your desire and its arrival. This is the womb of manifestation. This is where roots grow deep, foundations are built, and strength is born. When the reward does come, it won't be fragile. It won't be something you question. It will fit perfectly because you were shaped for it. Remember, the longer the preparation, the greater the manifestation. Overflow is not a moment. It is a new state of life. And it comes not when you beg, not when you push, but when you are fully aligned within. Keep going. You are not being denied. You are being readied for more than you imagine. You don't get what you wish for. You get what you've embodied. This is the fundamental law that governs every manifestation. Wishing implies distance. It implies hope that something outside of you will change. But embodiment is entirely different. It means you have accepted the end as real. It means you have moved in consciousness and claimed the desire as already yours. The world is not separate from your inner world. It is the visible echo of your invisible thoughts. The outer is simply the projection of the inner image you have impressed upon your imagination. And this impression, once made with feeling and persistence, must express itself in form. It is law. Many continue to wish and wait, never realizing that their delay is rooted in separation. To wish is to remain outside the experience. To imagine yourself wanting keeps the desire always ahead, always out of reach. But when you shift from wishing to knowing, from longing to living it within, the change begins. The shift is subtle but powerful. You stop asking when and start saying thank you. You stop looking for signs and start moving as if it's already done. The inner picture is everything. Your world must conform to it because your world is built by it. Reality is not something happening to you. It is something happening through you. If you carry an image of lack, you'll meet lack. If you carry an image of love, you'll attract love. The picture you consistently hold determines the outcome you consistently meet. And this is why the reward matches the inner picture, not the outer effort. You can work hard, take action, push and strive, but if the inner picture contradicts your effort, you will find yourself exhausted and frustrated, because your actions are only as effective as the consciousness they come from. Your reward is not based on effort alone, it is based on embodiment. What have you accepted as true? What have you felt real? What have you dared to imagine consistently, even in the face of current conditions? That is where the harvest comes from. The beautiful thing is, the moment your assumption is sincere, deeply felt, truly believed, the outcome becomes inevitable. You don't need to force it. You don't need to chase it. Life will begin to move, often quietly, aligning people, opportunities, and events to match what you have already lived in imagination. You are not here to earn blessings. You are here to recognize them, to become the person who already has them. That is the secret to receiving. So take your eyes off the appearance. Don't ask how or when. Ask only, what am I embodying right now? Because the answer to that question will show itself soon enough. Not through coincidence, not through chance, but as a mirror of your own consciousness. Till the mind imperfectly gauges, the reward was never outside of you. It has always been the natural result of the image you dare to hold within. Overflow is not accidental. It is not a stroke of luck or a random moment of favor. It is the direct result of unwavering loyalty to the unseen vision planted within you. That inner vision, the one that whispers to your heart when the world is silent, is not a fantasy. It is a divine instruction, a glimpse of what's possible, a seed from the infinite entrusted to your imagination so that you might water it with belief and persistence. When you stay obedient to that vision, despite what things look like, despite delays, despite opposition, overflow becomes inevitable. You are not being tested to see how strong you are. You are being given the opportunity to prove your loyalty to the end you have seen in spirit. Most people waver. They see the vision, feel the excitement, and then abandon it when conditions contradict it. But the ones who experience overflow are not the ones who try harder. They are the ones who stay faithful. To stay obedient means to live from the vision, not toward it. You begin to think, feel, speak, and act in alignment with the unseen. You train your inner world to match the reality you have claimed, even when nothing outside confirms it. And as you do, something powerful happens. Life begins to shape itself around your consistency. Doors open, resources appear, people aligned, not because you forced it, but because you held the vision long enough for the world to mirror it. The universe must respond to what is consistently affirmed in spirit. What you repeat, believe, and dwell in becomes the foundation of your outer experience. This is not magical thinking, it is spiritual law. All things multiply from their origin, and your origin is thought, emotion, and assumption. You do not manifest from mere desire, you manifest from conviction. And conviction is formed through repetition and loyalty. If you say, I am abundant today and I am worried tomorrow, you are double-minded. But if you say, I am abundant with sincerity, again and again, no matter how empty things appear, you are shaping the invisible substance of your world. You are building the structure that overflow must fill. You are becoming the vessel that cannot be denied. Obedience to the vision means you trust it more than you trust appearances. You hold it higher than fear. You believe it more than the evidence around you. And when you do, you align with a higher order. An order where what is unseen governs what is seen. Overflow is not a reward for your efforts. It is the natural result of your alignment. It is the outcome of embodying the truth before it becomes visible. The vision is not just a promise. It's a command to become. And when you become the version of yourself that already has what you seek, You can no longer be separated from it. Stay loyal to what was whispered to your spirit. That vision was given to you for a reason. And if you refuse to let go of it, if you obey it with your thoughts, feelings, and actions, then overflow must come. It has no choice. It is the fruit of your inner faithfulness. There is something sacred about the things you carry in silence, the dreams you dare not speak aloud, the battles you face behind closed doors, the faith you cling to when no one is watching. These moments are unseen by others, but not by God. Every tear cried in solitude, every quiet act of trust, every silent affirmation of belief is recorded in the unseen realm. And while the world may not have applauded your journey, heaven has never looked away. God does not need you to perform your faith. He is not moved by outward displays or grand declarations. He is moved by the authenticity of your heart. It's what you believe when the lights are off and the audience is gone that shapes your destiny. The secret place, your inner world, is where creation begins. It is where God plants the seed of vision and waits to see if you'll nurture it in silence. To conceive something in secret means to carry it in your spirit before it has taken form. It means you have allowed yourself to believe in what has not yet been seen. You've dared to accept a reality that your current circumstances do not yet reflect. And that kind of faith, quiet, consistent, and unwavering, moves the hand of God. You don't need to announce your process. You don't need to prove to others what you're believing for. The promise is not dependent on their validation. It's dependent on your alignment. And when you remain aligned, when you continue to walk as if the unseen is more real than the seen, your reward must come. And when it comes, it will not be small. It will not be something you can hide. It will be undeniable. God rewards what you've carried in secret in a way that demands attention, not to elevate your ego, but to glorify His faithfulness. The very things you whispered in prayer, the visions you held when no one else saw, will manifest in a way that causes people to wonder how it happened. But you will know. You will remember the nights you chose faith over fear. You will remember the days you refused to give up when the evidence said you should. You will remember how you kept showing up, quietly and faithfully, in belief. And now, what was formed in secret will be celebrated in the open. God is not just the author of your vision. He is the finisher. And He finishes in ways that make the process worth it. The waiting, the weeping, the wondering, it wasn't in vain. Every moment was building towards something too glorious to be hidden. Your faith is about to be honored, publicly. So hold your head high, not in pride, but in knowing. The time is near. What you conceived in secret is about to take form. And when it does, no one will be able to deny that it was God who did it. You were never forgotten. Every silent prayer, every unseen act of faith, every moment you chose to believe instead of doubt, it has all been building toward this. You didn't need to fight for attention, beg for recognition, or chase approval. You just had to stay loyal to the vision, obedient to the unseen, and faithful in spirit. And now the reward is coming, not quietly but publicly. Not barely, but in overflow, because the God who saw you in secret is about to glorify you in the open. Your harvest will not be hidden. The world will witness the outcome of your quiet belief, and it will be undeniable. The overflow is not just coming. It has already begun. Thank you, message. Thank you for watching and allowing this message to speak to your spirit. If it stirred something within you, if it reminded you of the vision you are holding, keep going. Your faith is working, even when it feels invisible. Stay connected, stay aligned, and remember, the reward is already on its way. Blessings to you always. Close the door. Still the noise. The world outside is loud, but the treasure lies in silence. You ask for a miracle. You look at numbers, tickets, odds, but I tell you, look within. The jackpot was never in the draw. The jackpot was in you. You say, how do I win? I answer, you already did. Repeat this and feel it as truth. I am the $580 million 0 cents winner. It is mine. It is done. I am already living it. Again, I am the $580 million 0 cents winner. It is mine. It is done. I am already living it. Say it once and doubt laughs. Say it again and doubt stumbles. Say it with feeling and doubt disappears. You do not repeat to convince God, you repeat to convince yourself. The world bends to your inner acceptance. It is the law. Say it until your body relaxes in the truth of it. Say it until you stop wanting and start being. You don't chase money, you embody wealth. You don't beg for fortune, you claim it as your inheritance. Feel the money as yours. Walk like it's yours. Wake up each morning and repeat this until your nervous system agrees, it is done, I am the winner. No one outside you needs to believe it. This is your secret. This is your spell. And when you feel it real, reality must respond. This is not luck, it is law. This is not fantasy, it is fact, once you accept it. This is not a request, it is a command. So I say one last time, repeat it with me now. I am the $580 million 0 cents winner. It is mine. It is done. I am already living it. And now, let the world catch up. Imagination is not a dreamer's escape. It is the core of creation. Everything you now see, everything you now touch, was once invisible. It was once imagined. Your phone, your clothes, the chair you sit on, each began as a thought, an unseen idea that was given substance through belief, persistence, and focused attention. Yet most people treat their imagination like a toy, something childish, something to be put away as they grow older. But that is where the greatest error lies. The truth is this: imagination is the only reality. When you imagine something with clarity and faith, you are not engaging in fantasy. You are touching the seed of a future event. You are engaging with the raw material of existence. You are selecting from the infinite possibilities that surround you and giving one a place in your mind. And what you hold in mind with consistency and feeling begins to take shape. It is not magic. It is not superstition. It is law. What you accept internally must reflect itself externally. That's how life works. Always from within, outward. You have been trained to think the outside world is more real than your thoughts, but the opposite is true. The outer world is delayed. It is always a reflection of your previous imaginal activity. What you are living today is a result of what you believed, accepted, and emotionally entertained in the past. If you continue to observe the present with fear, doubt, or limitation, and do nothing to change your inner conversations, your future will look just like your past. But the moment you dare to imagine something greater, something bold, something wealthy, something joyful, and you do so with faith, you start a new cycle. A new destiny begins the moment you assume it. But it is not enough to simply think it once. You must feel it. You must enter the scene in your mind and walk in it as though it were already done. You must feel the joy of it, the naturalness of it. You must wear it like a second skin. You must repeat it until it becomes your inner truth. Then and only then will the outer world surrender. It has no choice. The world is a mirror, not a master. You are the cause. When people say, be realistic, They are asking you to worship limitation. But you were never meant to conform to the world. You were meant to shape it. And imagination is your tool. Through it, you select the life you wish to live. Through it, you rise above statistics, circumstances, and appearances. Through it, you claim what already exists in potential form and call it into being. The one who imagines richly and feels it fully walks in a different world. Their life looks blessed, favored, even lucky, but it is none of those. It is simply the result of inner discipline. You cannot fake it. You must live it within first. Every time you imagine your dream life with conviction, you are giving it roots. Keep going. Repeat it. Feel it. Speak it. Because imagination is not fiction. It is the foundation. It is the womb of creation. It is the only true reality. And you hold it within you now. Every day, without pause, you are speaking to yourself. This inner speech, silent, constant, and often unnoticed, is the engine of your reality. It is not idle talk. It is creative power in motion. What you say within yourself, whether with fear or faith, shapes the very fabric of your external world. You may think you are only reacting to life, but the truth is far deeper. Life is reacting to you. More precisely, it is reacting to what you say to yourself when no one else is listening. Most people use their inner voice to repeat what they do not want. They say things like, "I'm broke," "This never works out for me," "I'm unlucky," or "People don't support me." And without realizing it, they are giving commands to their subconscious mind, commands that the world obediently fulfills. The universe does not question whether your inner statements are wanted or unwanted, true or false, helpful or harmful. It only responds to the feeling and repetition behind your words. This is why changing your life begins with changing your inner dialogue. It doesn't require external effort at first. It doesn't demand a new job, a lucky break, or someone to come save you. It requires that you become aware of the story you're telling yourself, and then rewrite it. You must begin to speak inside your mind as the person who already has what you desire. If you want wealth, do not say, "I'm trying to get rich." Say, "I am wealthy. I am abundant. I always receive more than I expect." Say it not as a hope, but as a truth. Speak it softly but confidently, again and again. Over time, this new inner speech takes root, and what is rooted within must eventually bloom without. You may not see immediate changes, but don't be fooled by appearances. Seeds do not grow overnight. Continue repeating your chosen truth until your nervous system accepts it, until your body feels safe in it, until the statement, "I am wealthy," feels as familiar as your name. Then watch what happens. Ideas will come, opportunities will appear, people will respond to you differently, money will flow, not by accident, but by the invisible law that matches your dominant inner conversation. This is not positive thinking, it is spiritual law. The outer world reflects your assumptions, not your desires. Many desire wealth but assume struggle. Many want abundance but speak poverty within. You cannot fool this principle. You must align your inner voice with the result you wish to see. So ask yourself, what am I repeating in secret? What am I affirming in quiet moments, in doubt, in fear? Then choose differently. Speak only what you want to live. Make your inner speech sacred. Let it be filled with gratitude, certainty, and wealth, not someday, but now. Because the world is not punishing or rewarding you, it is echoing you. And if you want to be rich, abundant, overflowing in success, start speaking as if it is already true. Do it persistently, with love and conviction. Soon the outer world will follow the sound of your voice. Words are only shells. They carry no power until they are filled with feeling. You may repeat affirmations day and night, but if they are dry, robotic, or disconnected from emotion, They fall to the ground, empty and ineffective. The real force that shapes your reality is not the words you say, it is the feeling behind them. Feeling is the fire. Feeling is the magnetic pull. Feeling is the invisible hand that takes what you imagine and draws it into your life. To possess anything in this world, you must first possess it within. That means you must feel the state of already having it. If you desire $580 million, 0 cents, do not speak of it as something far away. Do not say, one day I will have it, or I wish it were mine. Instead, you must enter the experience as if it is already true. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, begin to feel the security, the ease, the expansion that comes with that kind of wealth. Let it settle into your body. Let it become familiar. That sensation, that quiet knowing, is the creative act. People often ask why their manifestations take so long or why nothing changes despite constant repetition. The answer is simple. They speak the words but feel the opposite. They affirm wealth but feel lack. They say, I am rich, but carry fear and doubt in their chest. The subconscious mind does not hear your words. It responds to your feeling. And if the feeling contradicts the statement, the feeling always wins. So what do? You shift from thinking to being. You use your imagination not just to see, but to feel. Feel the soft leather seats of the car. Feel the click of the pen as you sign the check. Feel the sunlight on your skin as you lie in your oceanfront home. Let your body react. Let your heart smile. Let yourself be moved by it. When you feel something is real, your mind accepts it, and once the mind accepts it, reality begins to change. This is not about faking it. It's about faithfully entering the state of the wish fulfilled. The same way you worry about things that haven't happened, and your body tenses, your breath shortens, your mood shifts. You can reverse that process. Feel joy before the event. Feel success before the achievement. Feel the result before it arrives. This is how all creation works, from within, through feeling, into form. The world does not move for those who merely speak. It moves for those who feel it real. A man who walks in the feeling of success will find doors open for him. A woman who lives in the inner atmosphere of abundance will begin to attract opportunities, people, and circumstances that reflect her inner state. Not by chance, not by luck, but by law. So when you speak your affirmations, don't just say them, become them. Let the words be alive in you. Let them vibrate through your senses. Let them move you into alignment with what you seek. Because feeling is not the effect of possession, it is the cause. The one who feels it real possesses it already, and the world without resistance will deliver it right into their hands. Luck is the story people tell when they don't understand the power of persistence. They see a person rise, succeed, or receive a miracle and say, that one is lucky. But they do not see the hours that person spent alone, affirming, believing, refusing to give up in the face of silence. Luck is what the world calls it, but the truth is, persistence is the force that moves mountains. Manifestation is not a one-time chant. It is not a casual wish whispered once under your breath. It is the consistent, conscious repetition of truth, your truth, until the unseen becomes seen. You do not ask once and walk away. You repeat. You embody. You believe. So deeply, so stubbornly, that the outer world must yield. Think of the farmer. He doesn't plant a seed and check the soil every 5 minutes, demanding proof. He trusts the process. He waters it, he protects it, he waits, knowing the harvest is guaranteed if he does not stop tending to the ground. The same law governs your desires. The seed is planted in your imagination. It grows through your persistent inner belief. Water it daily with feeling, shine light on it through repetition. Remove the weeds of doubt. That's how you win. Many fail not because they don't believe once, but because they don't believe long enough. They get tired. They look to the outside world for signs, and when nothing appears, they say, it's not working. And in that moment, they dig up the seed, they speak failure, they abandon the process. But the ones who persist, the ones who repeat their affirmations not because of the outer world, but in spite of it, those are the ones who win. Not by accident, by spiritual law. You may say, but it's been weeks, months, years. And I say, it does not matter. Persistence outshines luck. Persistence outlasts delay. Repetition with conviction will wear down resistance like water wears down stone. If your mind can hold the vision, your life must eventually hold the result. You are not waiting on life. Life is waiting on you to stay faithful. Stay in the state, stay in the assumption. Even when the world offers no confirmation, keep going. When you wake up, speak it. When doubt whispers, override it with truth. When no one believes in you, believe even louder. That is the difference between a wish and a creation. One fades, the other repeats until it becomes flesh. There is no magic ticket. The lottery itself is not about chance, it's about alignment. You must persist in the feeling of already having won. You must feel the joy, the relief, the reality of it until it becomes normal to your nervous system. And when it becomes normal inside you, it will become normal around you. The miracle, the money, the dream, none of it is stronger than your belief. Your inner reality is the author of your outer results. So don't stop. Don't slow down. Keep going until the world catches up. The one who refuses to let go of the vision will always seem lucky to those who do not understand. But you will know it wasn't luck. It was persistence. And it was always yours. There is a vast difference between speaking toward your desire and speaking from it. Most people speak as if what they want is far away. They say things like, I hope I win, I want to be wealthy, or I will have it someday. But all of those phrases push the desire into the future, into a space that never arrives. The future is always just ahead of you, just out of reach. That is why nothing changes. The secret is to shift from wishing and wanting to being and having. You don't speak toward the goal. You speak from the end, as though it is already yours. This is the great spiritual key, to feel now what you once thought you could only feel later. To think from the place you desire to be, not about it. It is not, I will win $580 million, those cents. That statement implies it is not yet true, that you are still separate from it. Instead, you say, I won the $580 million, those cents. It is done. I am living it. That inner declaration is not a lie. It is a spiritual act of creation. You are claiming the end result and stepping into its energy now. And once you fully inhabit that state, life must rearrange itself to reflect it. The subconscious mind does not understand time. It accepts whatever you impress upon it with emotion and repetition. So, when you speak from the end, when you say, I already have it, and you feel the truth of that, your subconscious begins to organize your reality to match that internal assumption. You don't need to know how. The how is not your job. Your job is to accept the end as true. When you live in the feeling that it is already done, you are no longer seeking. You are no longer doubting. You are dwelling in the answer. And answers manifest. Doors open. People appear. Money flows. Not because you forced anything, but because you aligned yourself with the end result. And reality follows belief. Think of how you feel after you accomplish something. There's no more striving. There's peace, confidence, gratitude. That is the state you must enter now. Not when the money is in your hand, but before, because it is that state, the state of the wish fulfilled, that creates the condition. You live from the assumption, and the outer world obeys. This is not about delusion, it is about authority. You are the creator, not the beggar. You don't plead with the universe, you command with faith. You see yourself already there. You speak with finality, and that energy is magnetic. It draws the unseen into form. Every time you say, I will, you delay. Every time you say, I am, you claim. Speak from the end. See yourself on the other side of the mountain. Feel what it's like to already be the person who has it all. Let that feeling become your home. Let that vision become your identity. Because when you speak from the end, you collapse the distance between you and your desire. You no longer chase, you attract. You no longer wish, you live. And the world, which always listens to the certainty of your inner voice, will simply mirror back the truth you have already decided. It is done. The greatest treasure you will ever possess does not lie in a bank, a vault, or a lottery ticket. It lies within your mind. The world teaches you to look outward for wealth, to chase money, to seek opportunities, and to wait for your lucky break. But real fortune doesn't begin outside, it begins with your consciousness. The $580 million, 0 cents you seek already exists in potential. But to experience it, you must first access the vault within, the one that responds not to effort, but to belief. Your mind is the gateway to every form of abundance. It is the origin of all manifestations, all outcomes, all visible experiences. If your inner world is filled with limitation, fear, and lack, then no matter how many opportunities come your way, you will unconsciously sabotage or block them. But if your mind is saturated with wealth, if you believe you are abundant, if you feel worthy of riches, and if you expect success, then the outer world must conform to that inner conviction. It is law. You were never meant to chase money. You were designed to create it through assumption. Whatever you accept as true becomes a command to your subconscious, and your subconscious governs your results. If you constantly repeat, I never have enough, or money is hard to get, then you've already locked the vault and thrown away the key. But the moment you begin to affirm, I am wealthy, money flows easily to me, I always have more than I need, and you repeat it with emotion and consistency, the vault unlocks. This is not theory, it is experience. Your true bank account is not measured by the digits on a screen. It is measured by the richness of your thoughts, the expansiveness of your beliefs, and the certainty of your assumptions. There are people with little external wealth who feel abundant, and abundance finds them. There are others with millions in their hands, but scarcity in their minds, and it all slips away because money follows mindset. Always. You don't need to wait until you get lucky. You need to decide right now that you are rich. You must train your inner dialogue to reflect the life you desire. Speak to yourself like someone who already owns the $580 million, 0 cents. Feel the security. Imagine the freedom. Let the thought of abundance become your default setting, your emotional home. Once your mind becomes the container for wealth, life will begin pouring into it. Remember, your imagination is your vault. Your thoughts are your currency. Your inner conversations are the investments that yield your return. So ask yourself daily, what am I depositing into my mind? If it's doubt, fear, and lack, you'll withdraw more of the same. But if it's faith, confidence, and wealth, then fortune has no choice but to arrive. The world mirrors what's within. And when you believe without wavering that the $580 million 0 cents is already yours, the universe will bring you the channels, people, and events to make it real. Not because you forced it, but because you finally opened the vault. So stop looking outward in desperation, look inward in power. Because the money is not waiting out there, it's waiting in you, ready to be released by belief, by repetition, and by unwavering faith in the truth. You are already rich. Now you know the truth. What you seek is already within you. It was never about luck, chance, or waiting for the perfect moment. The $580 million, 0 cents, the wealth, the freedom, the life of your dreams. It all begins in your mind. You hold the key. Through imagination, inner speech, persistent belief, and the power of feeling, you unlock a reality that once seemed impossible. Speak from the end, feel it real, live from the truth that it is already yours. Because when you fully accept it inside, the outside must obey. Don't wait for proof. Be the proof. Say it. Feel it. Repeat it. Let your reality reflect your decision. Wealth is not something you chase. It is something you claim, and now you've claimed it. Thank you for walking this path with me. Thank you for daring to believe in more. Thank you for choosing the unseen over the obvious, the inner over the outer, the truth over appearances. You are powerful beyond measure. And now the world will mirror that truth back to you. Stay faithful, stay persistent, and always remember, it's already yours. Close your eyes, just for a moment, and let this truth settle into your being. You are the operant power. You do not need to complain about the world outside of you. The world is simply reflecting what you have accepted within. To protest, to argue, to lament, it is to give life to what you wish to be rid of. What you condemn, you cling to. What you bless, you release. The wise never complain because they understand. The world follows, it never leads, and never explain. To explain is to defend is to doubt, and doubt is the death of the miracle. When you know something is already yours, you do not explain your claim to anyone. Do you explain the air you breathe? No, because it is natural. So too should your assumption be natural, effortless, done. If you must speak, speak inwardly. Whisper to yourself the new reality. Close the door to the outside and enter the secret chamber of imagination. There, in that sacred space, assume the feeling of your desire fulfilled. Clothe yourself in it. Dwell in it until it becomes so familiar the outer world is forced to conform. Complaining delays miracles. Explaining dissolves them. Only the silent knowing manifests. Live as though it is already done. Walk the earth in quiet confidence. Let the world wonder what changed. Let them see the miracle. But never tell them how, because you know the truth. It was done the moment you assumed it. Never complain, never explain, just feel it real and watch the miraculous unfold in ways no mind could predict. There is a sacred power in your inner silence that most overlook. In a world obsessed with noise, opinions, and reactions, silence has become a forgotten virtue. Yet it is within this very stillness that your creative power dwells. When you cease reacting to the outside world, when you no longer feel the need to respond, justify, or defend, you step into your true nature as the one who commands reality from within. Every outer event is simply a mirror of a previous inner state. The conditions you see in your world are not random, nor are they forced upon you by others. They are reflections of what you have assumed, believed, and accepted in consciousness. When you complain or react to circumstances, you affirm them. You say, "This is true for me," and in doing so, you breathe life into what you do not want. But the one who is still, who is silent, understands that the seed of change lies not in the reaction, but in the selection of a new inner reality. A quiet mind is not weak. It is not passive. It is focused. It knows what it wants, and it does not waste energy resisting what it no longer chooses. It turns away from appearances and looks within. It chooses to feel, to dwell, to believe in the unseen until it becomes seen. The world will pull at you. It will shout, tempt, and provoke. But your power lies in not answering that call. Your true authority begins where your reaction ends. When you refuse to be moved by the outer, you begin to move the inner. And the inner is the cause. Stillness is not inaction. It is creation at the highest level. You are withdrawing your energy from what you no longer accept and investing it in what you are now assuming to be true. It is in this silence that your new reality is formed. No struggle, no force. Just the gentle assumption impressed again and again upon the inner mind until it hardens into fact. You do not need to argue with your world. You do not need to convince anyone of your worth, your vision, or your dream. You simply become it. Silently, faithfully, persistently, the man who sits in silence, imagining himself into a greater life, is doing more for his future than the man who works feverishly while doubting inwardly. You must learn to rest in the unseen, to accept your desire as already true within, and to stop reacting as though it is not. This silence is not emptiness, it is fullness. It is knowing. It is a deep, unshakable confidence that what you hold within will appear without. You don't need to force it. You don't need to chase it. You only need to become it and remain unmoved by anything that says otherwise. That is your task. That is your true work. The quiet mind is the fertile ground of creation. Protect it, guard it, nourish it. Turn inward often and dwell in the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Speak little, react less, and know that in your inner stillness, miracles are forming, worlds are shifting, and your future is answering the call of your imagination. To complain is to affirm the very thing you wish would change. Every word of frustration, every sigh of disappointment, every explanation of why things aren't working, these are subtle declarations of ownership. When you complain, you say to the universe, "This is mine. This lack, this pain, this limitation, it belongs to me." And what you claim, you continue to experience. You cannot complain about something and simultaneously rise above it. The two cannot occupy the same space. One must go. What you speak, you keep. Words are not idle. They are not casual expressions floating into empty space. They are seeds, and every seed once spoken with emotion and repetition begins to grow into experience. A person who constantly talks about their problems is constantly planting the same crop. And when that familiar harvest appears, more of the same pain, more of the same lack, they wonder why change feels impossible. It is because they are unknowingly loyal to their own suffering. There is power in your focus. Wherever your attention rests, energy flows, and wherever energy flows, reality forms. Complaining is nothing more than focused attention on what you do not want. You feed it with your thoughts. You water it with your words. And then you wonder why it won't leave. It won't leave because you keep inviting it back in through the door of your speech. But there is another way. You can starve the problem. You can rob it of its power by refusing to speak about it, not out of denial, but out of wisdom. You are not here to chronicle your misfortunes. You are here to create something higher. Instead of rehearsing what is wrong, choose to dwell in the feeling of what is right, even if it is only within. Speak of what you desire as though it already exists. Let your words be the construction of your new world. not the echo of your old one. The one who no longer complains has discovered something precious: peace. Peace is the soil in which all miracles grow. When you stop reinforcing the negative with your attention, it begins to lose its grip on you. You shift from victim to creator. You stop reacting and begin selecting. Your reality stops being something you suffer through and becomes something you shape. This is not about pretending. This is about choosing. You are not lying when you speak life into your situation. You are aligning with a deeper truth. The truth that you are not bound by what you see, but by what you accept. And the moment you stop accepting the undesirable by complaining about it, you open the door to transformation. Speak less of what troubles you and more of what delights you. Speak of love, not lack, of joy, not judgment, of gratitude, not grief. What you focus on, you feed. Feed the dream, not the doubt. Feed the future, not the fear. You are always manifesting. Your words are always working. The question is, what are they creating? If you truly desire change, then honor that desire with your speech. Let your words become a testimony of your faith, not your frustration. In silence or in joy, let your life be lifted, and let complaining be the thing you once did before you remembered who you really are. The need to explain is the subtle voice of doubt dressed in reason. When you believe something fully, deeply, and without question, you do not explain it. You embody it. It becomes a quiet knowing, a natural state, not something that requires validation or permission. But when there is hesitation in your assumption, when there is a crack in your inner foundation, the urge arises to defend, justify, or make others understand what you yourself are still trying to believe. To explain is to divide your power. It is to step out of the sanctuary of knowing and into the arena of opinion. The moment you seek to explain your vision, your desire, or your faith to others, you open the door to their doubts, their logic, their limitations. You hand over your inner world to be questioned by minds that do not see what you see. And in doing so, you subtly begin to question it yourself. You are no longer standing firm. You are standing on the shifting ground of approval. Real belief stands alone. It is silent not because it is secret, but because it is sure. It needs no witnesses, no applause, no agreement. It exists within you as a fact, long before the world can see it. The tree does not explain how it grows to the seedling beside it. The sun does not justify its light. So too should you live, shining, unfolding, becoming, without need to explain the process. Every time you explain your dream, you give away a piece of it. Not because others are unworthy, but because the dream is still forming within you. It is delicate. It must be protected. Explanation invites external measurement, and in that space, your assumption is reduced to a question. But your assumptions must never be questioned by the outer world. They must be honored by the inner world until they are made flesh. Those who manifest powerfully do not explain. They declare inwardly and move as if it is done. They do not argue for their limitations, nor do they seek permission for their vision. They accept it within, quietly, and then live as if the world must catch up, because it will. Let go of the need to be understood. You were not born to be explained, you were born to create. And creation happens in stillness, in faith, in the sacred space where nothing is seen, but everything is known. There is great strength in saying nothing, in simply becoming what you believe. You never need to prove yourself. The life you live will do that for you. The results will speak louder than any explanation ever could. When others see your transformation, your peace, your abundance, let them wonder, let them ask. And even then, you do not owe them an explanation. You owe only your alignment with the vision you've claimed as your truth. True belief is not loud. It is unwavering. It does not convince, it creates. Stand in that space. Assume the feeling of your desire fulfilled and hold it silently. Let that assumption be the final word. Not because the world agrees, but because you do. Everything you see around you, every condition, every circumstance, every person, every event, is the result of a cause far deeper than the surface. That cause is within you. It is your imagination. Not the fleeting kind used for daydreams or fantasies, but the sacred creative faculty that shapes the very framework of your life. You are not reacting to life, you are living inside the echo of your inner world. And when you truly understand that imagination is the root of all outcomes, you no longer chase external proof. You begin to plant internally. To imagine is to create. The unseen image you hold, the scene you return to again and again, the feeling you dwell in silently, these are the blueprints of your future. The outer world only reflects what you've accepted within. When you understand this, you stop trying to fix the mirror and begin shaping the face. You withdraw your energy from reacting to circumstances and redirect it into consciously forming the state you desire to live in. The secret is this. You must live inwardly in the state of the wish fulfilled. Not as hope, not as possibility, but as reality. Imagination must become your true dwelling place, your truest reality. You must assume the feeling of the outcome already achieved and wear it like a garment. Think from it, speak from it, act from it. Not out of pretense, but from knowing. Most people wait for proof before they believe, but proof is only the echo, it is not the source. The source is always within. If you look to the world for permission to believe, you delay your manifestation. You become a servant of appearances rather than the master of them. But the one who dares to believe in the unseen begins to bend the seen to match it. Simulation is divine law in motion. What you accept as true within, the world must eventually confirm. It may not come through the door you expect. It may not come in the form or timeline your logic planned. But it will come, because the seed was planted, and all seeds bear fruit in due season. Your only task is to remain loyal to the unseen image and not let the noise of the visible distract you. This is not delusion, this is creation. Delusion is ignoring reality. Creation is understanding that reality is fluid, shaped by consciousness. When you live inwardly in the fulfilled state, you are not pretending. It is the outer world that is late, not your inner vision. Stay faithful to it, persist without needing reassurance. The world will catch up. You are always imagining something. The question is, are you doing it consciously or by default? Are you imagining what you want or what you fear? What you expect or what you truly desire? To live deliberately means to choose the inner picture and feel it real, regardless of what currently surrounds you. There is no power outside of this. Imagination is not a tool, it is the source, it is the cause. Everything else is just the shadow that follows. Begin now. Close your eyes, step into the scene of your heart's desire and dwell in it. Let the feeling take root. The moment you do, the wheels begin to turn, and soon what was once invisible becomes the reality you walk in. True confidence is not loud. It does not shout, demand, or chase. It is quiet, still, and deeply assured. It does not arise from external proof, but from internal knowing. When you truly know that your desire is already yours, there is nothing left to beg for, nothing to argue about, and nothing to defend. You simply live as though it is done, because in your consciousness, it already is. The one who walks in this kind of confidence is unmoved by appearances. They are not disturbed when the world does not yet reflect their assumption. Why? Because they understand that reality flows from within to without. They know the difference between what is real and what is temporary. The real is the unseen state they dwell in inwardly. The temporary is the world still catching up. So they remain still, they remain calm, they remain certain. Non-reaction is not passivity, it is mastery. It is the deliberate choice to not be pulled out of alignment. When someone doubts you, you don't respond with fear or defense. When circumstances contradict your desire, you don't panic or resist. You stay rooted in your vision. You stay faithful to the state of the wish fulfilled. This is confidence, the kind that needs no validation. To react is to lower your state. It is to step out of the knowing and into the questioning. But you cannot serve two masters. You cannot be both the creator and the complainer. You cannot walk in assurance and seek approval. Choose the higher. Choose the unseen and remain in it. The longer you hold the inner state without reacting to its opposite, the faster the outer must conform. Confidence is quiet because it already knows. It knows that what is felt inwardly, consistently and persistently must externalize. There is no rush because there is no uncertainty. When you bake a cake, you don't open the oven every minute to check if it's done. You trust the process. So too must you trust the process of imagination. You planted the seed, now remain in faith. Arguing is for those who are unsure. Begging is for those who believe in separation. Defending is for those who still think they must earn what is already theirs. You, however, are different. You have assumed it. You have entered the state. You do not need to plead, you simply prepare. You do not need to fight, you simply feel. And your world responds not to effort, but to vibration. Let others question you, let the world misunderstand. It does not matter. The moment you knew it was done within, the outcome was guaranteed. Do not trade your peace for their approval. Do not abandon your state to prove a point. Stay quiet, stay calm, stay knowing. That is the posture of one who has already received. And so, live from the end. Walk in the world as though your desire has already manifested. Let your silence be your confidence. Let your composure be your confirmation. You are not waiting, you are becoming. Not someday, but now. And in that still, non-reactive faith, your reality bends to match the truths you carry within. There is a sacred stillness where miracles are born. Not in striving, not in struggle, and not in desperation, but in the calm, quiet certainty that what you desire is already yours. The moment you stop grasping, stop doubting, stop chasing, and simply rest in the knowing, you activate a power far greater than effort alone. The universe begins to shift. Invisible forces move, circumstances realign, and all of it begins without noise, without spectacle, within stillness. Stillness is not the absence of action, it is the presence of total trust. It is a deep inner posture where you no longer feel the need to prove, plead, or push. You have assumed the end. You have felt it real. And now you wait, not in anxiety, but in peace. This is the waiting that creates. This is the quiet that builds the bridge from the unseen to the seen. You see, the universe does not respond to panic. It does not answer frantic thoughts or emotional turmoil. It responds to the vibration of faith. Pure, stable, unshaken belief. And belief does not need to shout. It does not need to announce itself. It simply knows. Just as the earth knows how to rotate and the seasons know how to change, your desire knows how to find its way to you, if you allow it. When you are still, you are not passive. You are magnetic. You become a vessel open to receive. The doors that once seemed closed begin to open because you are no longer blocking them with fear and overthinking. You stop trying to control the how and instead surrender to the reality that it is already unfolding perfectly. The most powerful transformations often happen in silence. They begin within where no one can see them, until one day everything changes without warning. People call it coincidence, but you know better. It was not sudden, it was certain. You just chose to believe before the evidence appeared. That is stillness. Stillness is also strength. It is the refusal to be moved by what you see. You may be surrounded by circumstances that contradict your desire, but you do not react. You do not let them shake your inner world. You remain aligned with your vision. You remain faithful to the unseen, and that stillness becomes the ground where miracles take root. The mind will try to pull you into worry. It will whisper questions, doubts, and timelines. But your work is to return to stillness again and again, to breathe, to feel, to trust. Because every time you return to that space, you signal the universe, I am ready, I already have it, I am no longer searching, I am receiving. And in that receptive state, things begin to happen. People show up, opportunities appear, delays dissolve, not because you forced it, but because you made room for it. You cleared the noise, you cleared the resistance, you became still, and in that stillness, the miraculous emerged. To stop chasing, stop fixing, stop trying to make it happen. Instead, sit quietly with the end in mind. Feel it, know it, rest in it, and let the silence do what shouting never could. Let the stillness speak your desire into existence, because the universe always answers the one who dares to be still and believe. Your reality is not shaped by the noise around you, but by the silence within you. You don't need to complain about what's wrong. You don't need to explain what you believe. You only need to assume it is done and walk in the stillness of that knowing. Let the world wonder how it happened. Let them guess your secret, because the miracle was never in the struggle. It was in your decision to believe, to imagine, to hold your vision without reaction, without noise, without fear. Miracles are not created by force. They unfold in the quiet confidence of one who trusts the unseen. So stand still, speak less, feel more, and live from the end. The moment you stop chasing and start assuming, the universe begins to move mountains on your behalf. Thank you for listening, for choosing faith over fear, and for remembering who you truly are. Until next time, stay still, stay certain, and watch the miracles unfold. Close your eyes for a moment and recall the feeling of having your desire fulfilled. That moment where the world is quiet and your heart is stilled, because you know. That inner knowing is the true sign. Not the number on the clock, not the words spoken by a stranger, but the stillness within. That is the beginning of manifestation. You see, this world is not random. It is a mirror. And when you shift inwardly, the world begins to echo your new assumption. If you've begun to see glimpses, a phrase repeated, a symbol that stirs you, a dream that feels real, do not question it. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations, echoes from the unseen, whispering, it is already yours. You may have noticed a shift, not out there, but in here. You feel less frantic, less needy. You are no longer seeking. Something inside you has surrendered, not in defeat, but in quiet certainty. That feeling of release, that is your proof. When the desire is truly accepted as done, the anxiety to get it disappears. There may be days when you feel nothing is moving, but then someone mentions exactly what you've been imagining. A song plays. You overhear your own story spoken by another. These are signs, not to be worshipped, but acknowledged as reflections of your new inner world. These are the shadows cast by your imagination already made real. Understand this: the feeling comes before the fact. You feel abundance, and then the wealth appears. You feel love, and then the person arrives. You feel freedom, and then the doors open. If you are feeling these things now, without needing the external evidence, then it is done. Your desire is not coming, it is unfolding. So many wait for signs to believe, but the one who truly understands begins to believe, and then the signs appear. If the world is whispering back to you in synchronicities, unexpected blessings, or that soft sense of knowing, do not doubt. These are not hints, these are proof. Do not chase signs. Do not ask the world to reassure you. Instead, rest in the conviction that it is already yours. Walk in the world as one who has already received. Speak with the voice of someone whose prayer is answered. Think from the end, not toward it. The signs are not the cause, they are the consequence. And if you are seeing them, feeling them, becoming aware of them, it means one thing: you have moved. You are no longer the person who wants the desire, you are the one who has it. The bridge of incidents is forming beneath your feet, even as you stand still. Walk forward in trust. Let the world echo your imagination. It already is, because when you see the signs, you're not being teased, you are being told, it's done. What you see around you is never separate from what you carry within you. The people you meet, the situations you encounter, even the so-called coincidences, they all mirror your internal world. This is not metaphorical, it is literal. Your outer experience is shaped, formed, and given life by the unseen patterns of thought, belief, and emotion that you entertain consistently. The world is not reacting to your actions, it is responding to your state of consciousness. When you begin to imagine a new reality, when you saturate your mind with a new assumption and persist in it regardless of appearances, something begins to shift. At first, it may be subtle. A word repeated by a stranger, an image that shows up multiple times in different places, or a dream that feels real and vivid. These are not accidents. They are echoes from the outer world, reflecting the new reality forming within you. The moment you accept a new truth inwardly, the world has no choice but to conform to that truth. You may think you are waiting for the world to change so you can feel differently, but in truth, the world is waiting on you. The change must begin within. You must feel wealthy before you see wealth. You must feel love before you witness love expressed. You must feel free before freedom shows up. It may seem backward to the logical mind, but that's because this is not a matter of logic, it's a matter of law. The inner creates the outer. You can test this for yourself. The next time you experience conflict or limitation, do not try to fight or fix the outside. Go within. Ask yourself what state you are embodying. What do you believe about yourself in that moment? Are you identifying with lack, fear, or separation? Then the world must reflect that back to you. But if you can shift even slightly into a state of abundance, peace, and unity, then the world must shift too. And you may feel that you don't necessarily mean it, but the world must shift too. It is law. The outer world is obedient. It does not argue. It does not judge. It simply reflects. Like a mirror, it does not choose what to show. It only shows what stands before it. And if what stands before it is a person rooted in confidence, gratitude, and expectancy, then the mirror will show a life full of opportunities, blessings, and progress. If what stands before it is doubt, fear, and lack, the mirror will show more of the same. So when you begin to see the world reflecting your desires, when doors start to open, when people treat you differently, when resources show up just when you need them, know this: it is not a fluke. It is the confirmation that your inner world has changed. Your assumption is taking form. Your new state is being honored by the world around you. Do not ask, is it working, when the signs begin to appear. Recognize that the mirror is finally catching up to what you have already accepted as true. You are not waiting for your desire. Your desire is waiting for you to recognize that it's already being made visible. The outer simply reflects the inner. Always. There comes a moment in your journey when something inside you softens. You no longer feel the same urgency, the same desperation, or the constant ache of waiting. You begin to breathe more deeply. You notice a quiet calm where there was once tension. This is not apathy. It is not giving up. It is alignment. It is the subtle but powerful shift from longing to having, from chasing to resting, from trying to force the external to knowing it is already yours. This change within you is not to be ignored. It is the most important sign of all. When you enter the state of the wish fulfilled, you feel it before you see it. Your emotions change. Your thoughts no longer revolve around how or when. Instead, there's a peaceful sense of completion. You no longer feel the need to ask over and over, to look for signs with anxious eyes. You are no longer reaching for your desire as if it's far away. You begin to walk and think and live as if it's already part of your reality. This is the state that creates the world. This shift is invisible to others at first, but you feel it. You may even doubt it because it feels so effortless. You wonder, why don't I care like I used to? Or why do I feel so peaceful all of a sudden? That peace is not indifference, it's a signal that you've moved, that your consciousness has accepted a new identity. The person who once begged for the desire is gone. The new you, the one who has it, has arrived. This new state doesn't require proof. It doesn't demand validation from the outside world. It knows. And because it knows, it is silent, it is steady. You stop looking at the clock. You stop measuring your worth by what has or hasn't appeared. You don't need to manipulate or perform. You simply are. You carry yourself differently. Your imagination is no longer a place of escape, but a place of creation. You visit your desired reality often, and it feels normal, even inevitable. Peace, detachment, and quiet confidence are the natural results of dwelling in the end. They are not things you have to force. They flow from being settled in your assumption. You no longer entertain the old stories of lack or limitation. When fear knocks, you recognize it for what it is, a remnant of an old state, and you no longer let it in. Your inner world becomes your true home. The outer world begins to mirror that new home, not immediately, but inevitably. And so, when you notice this shift within you, this gentle turning from striving to knowing, rejoice. It is the clearest evidence that something powerful is unfolding. You are no longer asking for your desire, you are being it. And being always precedes having. This inner movement is what makes all manifestation possible. You may not see the full picture yet, but you are in the right frame. Remain in that quiet confidence. Stay in the peace that does not need to explain itself. Let the world catch up to who you've become inside, because once your state has shifted, the rest is just the unfolding of what you have already claimed in spirit. Time as we know it is not fixed. It bends and shapes itself around the consciousness that dares to assume something new. When you boldly assume a new reality, not merely hope for it, but truly dwell in it mentally and emotionally, something beyond logic begins to stir. Events shift, people appear, paths open. And yet, the movement feels almost surreal, like a dream you are gently waking into. What we call signs, the repeating numbers, the unexpected texts, the people who suddenly cross our paths. These are not random messages from the universe. They are the outer echoes of a reality already accepted within. The moment you persist in a new assumption, the world must bend to reflect it. It may not do so instantly, but it will respond in ripples, like the first waves after a stone is dropped into still water. And those ripples are what many chase, mistaking the effect for the cause. But you must understand, the cause is always within. When your assumption is firm, when you feel it as true and live from it as real, time no longer follows its usual pace. It becomes fluid, responsive, even obedient. You may find that something you thought would take years arrives in weeks, or perhaps something you once thought impossible begins unfolding in a way that feels effortless. It isn't because the world suddenly became magical. It's because your inner world shifted, and time simply bowed to your new direction. There is no need to run after synchronicities, no need to decipher every sign like a riddle. The moment you begin to chase the signs, you step out of the assumed state and fall back into seeking that awaken. But when you remain grounded in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you no longer react to signs. You recognize them as natural consequences of a reality already unfolding. This is why you may begin to notice strange alignments. A conversation echoes the very thing you imagined. A stranger says the exact phrase you once whispered to yourself in a quiet moment. You wake up at the same symbolic hour again and again. These are not clues to figure out. They are confirmations. You don't need to respond with urgency. Respond with peace, with gratitude, with the knowing that you are seeing the surface of something much deeper already in motion. Time is not your enemy. It is not delaying you. It is arranging itself around your assumption. Your only task is to remain faithful to the unseen reality. When you persist in that inner knowing, time will serve you. It will fold itself into the story you've chosen to believe. So if you are seeing synchronicities, if the world is beginning to hum in tune with your desires, understand that it is not random, it is resonance. The vibration of your assumed reality is sending ripples through the fabric of time and space. And what you see now, those small signs, those quiet nods, are not hints that it might happen. They are proof that it already is. There is a sacred alignment that occurs when your emotions begin to match the reality you have imagined. Without any visible change in the outer world, you begin to feel differently, lighter, calmer, more joyful. It is as though the future you once longed for has already arrived, not in form, but in feeling. And that feeling is the bridge. When you feel joy, gratitude, or calm before the thing appears, you've entered the true creative state. You've stepped into the vibration of receiving. This shift is not forced. It is not the result of affirmations repeated with tension or rituals done in desperation. It arises naturally when you fully accept that what you desire is already yours. You no longer need to chase it, beg for it, or convince yourself of it. You feel as though the end is now. And that is the secret, to dwell in the end emotionally, before the senses confirm it. Many believe they must wait to celebrate. They say, I'll be grateful when it arrives. I'll be happy when I see it. I'll feel peace once I have it in my hands. But this reverses the process. The emotion must come before the manifestation, not after. Feeling joy before the evidence appears is not foolish. It is powerful. It is the signature of someone who has shifted their inner state and is now magnetizing the outer to match. Think of it this way. Emotion is frequency. When you feel joy, you are tuned to the frequency of the fulfilled desire. When you feel gratitude, you are declaring to the universe that you have already received. When you feel peace, you are no longer at war with the gap between the seen and unseen. You are resting in the certainty of its arrival. These emotions are not reactions, they are causes. They set the tone, they build for. This is why a person who practices inner peace and joy, even when nothing has changed on the surface, will find that the world begins to shift around them, opportunities appear, relationships heal, doors open. Why? because the world has no choice but to reflect your inner atmosphere. When you live from the end emotionally, the outer must conform. You may notice that the more you feel from the end, the less you check for signs, the less you seek validation. You stop asking, is it working, because you already feel it is. That inner confidence, that lightness of being, that is manifestation in motion. You are no longer aligned with lack, and so lack can no longer cling to you. You are radiating completion. This is not about pretending or pulling on a mask. It is about feeling from truth. Even if your five senses disagree, your soul knows when something is done. And when you feel from that place, when your inner world sings with the joy of having, the outer must respond. It may not be immediate, but it will be inevitable. So when you catch yourself smiling without a reason, feeling grateful for what you can't yet touch, or resting in peace despite the unknown, rejoice. You are no longer waiting, you are receiving. And your emotion is not a wish, it is evidence. There comes a point on the path to manifestation when the inner struggle simply begins to fade. The constant questions of what should I do next, or how can I make this happen faster, start to dissolve. Not because the desire has physically shown up yet, but because something deeper has taken place. You've entered into a state of fulfillment. You feel the truth of your desire as already done. And with that awareness, the urgency disappears. Impatience is a symptom of not believing. It's the child of doubt. When you're still caught in the illusion that your desire is separate from you, far away, difficult to reach, uncertain, impatience takes root. You feel the need to push, to chase, to figure everything out with the mind. But the moment you truly accept that it is already yours, something within you softens. You no longer need to manipulate the pieces of the outer world. You trust that everything is aligning on your behalf. This doesn't mean you stop moving entirely or that life becomes passive. Rather, your actions shift from force to flow. You're no longer acting out of desperation, trying to make something happen. You begin to act with clarity and inspiration because you feel supported by something greater than logic. The unseen structure of your assumption taking shape in the world. When the feeling of fulfillment takes hold, your nervous energy fades. You stop needing updates from the outside world. You no longer crave signs as proof. You stop checking the clock. The desire becomes something you simply are, rather than something you need to acquire. This is the power of living in the end. Your emotional state no longer depends on conditions being met. It is self-generated, and that makes it magnetic. Impatience fades because there is nothing left to prove. You are no longer trying to convince yourself. You know. And that knowing silences the inner noise. It brings a calm certainty that is far more powerful than any effort or struggle. In that quiet you find trust. Not blind trust in the world, but deep trust in the unseen mechanics of consciousness. In the law that what you accept within must externalize without. When you are truly fulfilled inwardly, waiting no longer feels like waiting. It becomes watching, observing, anticipating with joy instead of anxiety. You feel like someone who has already ordered their meal and knows it's on the way. There is no need to pace the room or beg the waiter. You know the process is already unfolding behind the scenes. So if you find yourself relaxing more, if your urge to force things is dissolving, if you feel peace instead of panic, know that this is not inaction, it is mastery. You have entered the creative stillness, the place where true manifestation begins to form. It is not loud, it is not frantic, it is subtle, but it is powerful. And in this sacred space, impatience cannot survive, because fulfillment is already felt. When you begin to align with the reality of your fulfilled desire, the universe doesn't whisper once, it echoes. Over and over again, life sends confirmations. not to convince you, but to mirror your inner state. This is how you know you've truly entered the realm of the assumed end. The signs aren't fleeting or isolated. They come again and again, often in different forms, yet carrying the same message. It is done. These echoes may come as repeated numbers, familiar words spoken by strangers, recurring dreams, symbols that seem to follow you, or themes that keep appearing in unexpected places. They may show up in songs, in social media, or in spontaneous conversations. And while the logical mind may call them coincidences, the soul recognizes them as echoes of truths, reverberations of the imagined end beginning to imprint itself on your external world. Repetition is the language of alignment. When you are vibrating at the frequency of your desire, the outer world cannot help but reflect that frequency back to you. You seek confirmation not because you are seeking it, but because you are now living in harmony with it. Just as a tuning fork vibrates when it hears a matching note, the world vibrates in response to your internal song. The signs are not needed to create belief, they appear because belief already exists. This is why someone living in doubt rarely sees confirmation. They are not aligned with the end, so life cannot reflect that end back to them. But the one who assumes their desire is already fulfilled begins to notice repetition, not once, not twice, but consistently. This consistency is not something you create. It is something you receive. It is the outer world repeating back the message your inner world is now constantly broadcasting. And yet, the signs do not demand analysis. They do not exist for the purpose of being decoded. Their role is not to prove anything to you. They are simply reminders. Gentle nudges, invitations to stay in the state of knowing, to stay in the end. Every time you see the confirmation, let it deepen your peace. Let it ground your certainty. Let it remind you that you are not waiting. You are already walking in it. Think of it like an echo in a canyon. You speak the word once and the walls return it to you repeatedly. This is how life works for the one who dares to imagine and believe. Once you claim your desire within and feel it as true, the echo begins. Not from desperation, not from effort, but from resonance. The imagined end is now vibrating through time, through space, through form. So when confirmation appears, don't ask, what does this mean? Instead, affirm, this is the sound of it happening. Don't look for the sign, embody the state, and the signs will chase you. They will follow you, surround you, and return to you again and again, because you are now one with the thing you once desired. Life echoes what you assume, and when the echoes keep coming, it's not a question of if, it's only a matter of when. What you desire is not somewhere far off in the distance. It is already forming, already unfolding, already reflecting through the mirror of your inner world. The signs you see, the peace you feel, the subtle shift in your emotions. These are not empty signals, they are confirmations that you have moved. You are no longer aligned with lack, but with fulfillment. The world responds not to your effort, but to your assumption. When you feel from the end, when your emotions align with what you've imagined, and when your impatience fades into trust, the desire must appear, not as something you chase, but something you now receive. So hold the feeling, live from the end, let the signs echo, let time bend, and let your certainty be unshaken. You are not hoping, you are remembering. You are not waiting, you are receiving. It is done. Saying, thank you for allowing this message to reach you. May you continue to live from the end, trust the unseen, and walk forward in the knowing that your desire is not coming, it's already yours.